In this video, you're going to see a really great way to wrap a helmet, and it's actually going to be wrapped in calendar film, gloss black, and chrome. And right here, Reiner's putting a little pinstripe on the outside edge. This particular helmet has really soft leather at the front, so it's a really tricky cut, and it's white, so the chance of coming up short is really, really high. So prepping the back and the front with a little piece of gloss black actually will really help the material on the outside hold when you stretch it, but also really get that good quality in terms of coverage. So good smart prep there. And here what Jorg and Flo are doing right now is finding the center point. So running nice good thin masking tape so it conforms nice and easy to the curve. Found a center point at the front, that's what Jorg did, and he's handed the tape off to Flo. And Flo's really kind of picking it up and just really kind of guiding the tape, going off that emblem that's painted on right there, and obviously frames the ears and then hits that rivet on the back and good to go. And then they take another run of masking tape. They're going to put it on either side of the center masking tape, and they're essentially just butt joining it. So you can see the concentration of Flo right now, really lining it up, and then Jorg comes back and seals the deal, so it hits it. So pulling nice and tight on that masking tape so it really doesn't bunch up. So they're really trying to get it nice and symmetrical and smooth, because they're basically prepping this for knifeless tape. So you see Flo really pulling, and then just kind of Jorg really just, good teamwork right there, just kind of sealing the deal once he feels like it conforms. So really important to make it super, super perfect butt joint, and again, pull nice and flat. Make sure you get good masking tape that has a bit of flex right now, and that really pays off, especially on helmets right here. So once that's lined up and good to go, now it's time to put the run of knifeless tape on, and this 3M knifeless tape being used right now is Design Line. So I always want to use Design Line on helmets because it can really conform to the curve. That flexible polyester string is great for that. Finish Line, it might be a little too stiff. That Kevlar string of Finish Line just isn't really good for helmets and curves. And I really want you to pay attention to right now is the focus of Flo and his just the precision that he's getting right now. Really making sure that that string of the knifeless tape is essentially butt joining the masking tape. So the green is actually slightly overlapping the masking tape, and here's a really good close-up of it. And Flo's excellent installer, and the precision that he puts on his installs is really, really amazing to watch. So right now you can see that coming off onto the knifeless tape right now, just perfect alignment from front to back. And that just means that when they go to cut it, it's just going to look like paint, like it's super professionally done. And they repeat the exact same steps for the other side, and notice that they're working on a work table with lots of space around them, so they both have really good body position. So once they get it set, notice that Jorg right now grabs the side of the helmet so it doesn't pivot. So when Flo gets the super high focus and gets that alignment, especially for that front side now, the helmet's not going to shift. So having a good yo-yo moment on this helmet is really critical right now. So now we move on to the next stage of prep on this helmet. I asked Reiner if those raised objects at the front come off, and he said no. So I had an idea, and I ran to the storage cabinet at the Wrap Institute Center in Munich, and I grabbed this tool from Yellow Tools. What is called is a sensor cut flexi, and it gives you different sizes for circular cutouts. So I said, you know what, let's try this. So Reiner found that size 14 fits perfect. So with that, he's going to use this really cool tool from Yellow Tools as well. It's a knife that actually has a pivoting tip, so you can do nice circular cutouts. Good combination there. So Reiner puts it on the gloss black right now, and he's doing the cutouts for those raised objects ahead of time. And I'm telling you, especially on a helmet, this is going to pay off in spades, because you really want to relax the material around there, especially on a white helmet that you're trying to make black. This chance of cutting short around that raised object, especially when you stretch the film, is really, really high. So neutralizing that right out of the gate is really, really nice. So you see the cutouts, especially with that circular tip that moves, awesome. It gets a nice, good enclosed cutout that's super symmetrical, that's going to fit around there like a puzzle piece. So once the material is prepped, 2 pieces of gloss black and chrome with the cutouts. Now what Reiner's doing is using the Defender tool, and this is one that Reiner helped develop right now. And it's essentially a snitty that can kind of really get underneath the liner, but it can also curve. Generally, snitties are pretty good with straight, but not with curves. So the reason why Reiner's cutting the liner side right now is just to allow, when they wrap the sides of the helmet right now, him and Marcos, is they can hold the liner, which actually gives them extra, good tension on the side. Plus, their fingers don't contaminate the adhesive. So good prep with the liner right there. He did both pieces. So that's a lot of prep that goes into the helmet, but you see it's going to pay off. And keep in mind that this helmet that we're wrapping was part of the Never Stop Learning contest. And so this was round number 8, and this is Tech Wrap film, calendar film, 6 mil thick. But you can see with all the prep going into it in terms of finding the center point, the design line, and then that cutout, especially at the front, Reiner's going to anchor it right there. And it really is a good starting off point right there around the raised objects. It's going to really help them kind of conform the film, but also not have to come back around and cut that section. So get a little kiss of heat right there, and just really want to anchor it right to the front. Very important to kind of anchor it roughly about 2 or 3 inches around that raised object, so it really holds so it doesn't shift. So you can see that in this case I'm wearing the helmet, but a good tip is sometimes people use like a dummy to put it on. Sometimes there's a really good tool from Yellow Tools that has a stand that you can hook it onto. But either way, once that front section is done, you can see they give it a nice good kiss of heat and then really form it around. And I want you to really keep in mind that there's just, Marcos and Reiner are, great installers, and Flow's adding that extra set of hands in terms of heat, and they see it conforms nice and clean around there with very minimal tension. And with everything set, they're going to release the design line right there, so it comes off nice and clean, and this perfect alignment thanks to Flow and York really setting it up ahead of time. So design line perfect for that on the curve. They come back and seal the deal. And with the prep in terms of the thin little piece on the edge right now, Reiner's cutting away the excess film without cutting it up short. Really good setup right there. And then Marcos comes back and seals the deal with the hard side of a squeegee. So one side's done, really clean and straightforward. Now we're going to switch to the other side, and it's the exact same setup. So Reiner pulls a little bit of liner, but away in this case, but then the liner is right where his hands are, so he can pull right from the liner nice and hard without contaminating the adhesive. Flow adds a kiss of heat. Reiner uses some triangles, spreads that tension out, and just really locks it in right at the base right there. Really critical to get that. And then they just heat and stretch the film, conform it around, and basically I'm turning into Darth Vader right there. It looks really, really crazy. So once that's done, everything's kind of conformed on. Release the knifeless tape again, and now we'll talk about the chrome piece that's coming up next, which is definitely interesting. And stretching chrome on a helmet is always critical to get right. So you see Marcos pulls the excess film, and obviously going to come back and seal the deal. So once that's done, black gloss on the side, Reiner's going to come back and clean off the excess film, and again, basically stress-free cutting in the sense that by prepping it with the gloss on the underside right now, there's no chance of coming up short. Now it's time to prep the chrome, and in this case switching the knifeless tape from 3M. This one is 3M's Precision line, and this has a wire that what this is really good for is cutting chrome. So again, really important to have different types of knifeless tape on hand. Design line for that flex, in this case Precision line flexes as well, but it cuts chrome much better than design line. And you can see that pre-cut out tab, especially for chrome right now, is going to have a huge payoff, because chrome is notoriously difficult to work around raised objects, doesn't like to conform too much. And then here, just using good technique right now to really stretch it up. So Marcos is pulling nice and high and creating tension. And what Reiner's doing is creating triangles. And what Flow is doing is adding heat. So really important to have good teamwork here right now. And then once everything's set, nice and easy and straightforward, release the precision line so it cuts super straight. And then cut away remove the excess film, and pretty much everything's downhill from there. But you can see how the payoff basically comes from really good smart prep, and then you can wrap a helmet. And the reason why they wrapped it in 3 pieces, just to create that good long-term durability and quality, and basically hiding the overlaps through good symmetry right there, and then making sure everything's finished off. And then Marcos is going to give a nice good flare right here. Bam! Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Justin Pate.